Hello, good afternoon, and happy new year. Happy to be back again. And today we're going to be talking about the Scrum Master job in 2023. Uh, how to approach it, what do you need to do, or what are you doing already, what is working, what is not working, what are some of the expectations we should have when applying for a job, from when you're looking at talking to recruiters, talking to hiring manager, negotiating your salary and all of that. What should you be looking into? So, happy to welcome everyone on board. When you come in, just drop your name and drop a comment. Let me know where you're connecting from. And of course, we are going to be taking questions as well. And some of the questions you've been having in your interviews, and sometimes you might be having some of some of the challenges answering them. It's also time for us to look at what are some of the possible responses you could possibly give in those give for this question. So let me know where you're watching from. Hello, Danielle. How are you doing today? I also see a lot of people joining. Helen from Atlanta, uh, George Gerard from the United Kingdom. Hello, George Gerard. Thank you for joining in. Okay, the first 15 minutes, I'm just gonna give you kind of a brief of some of the things we need to have handy before going out there for a job as a Scrum Master. And the first thing that we need to know, the first thing which I want to talk about today, it's about step one. For anyone aspiring to get into the Scrum Master field, there's always a first step, right? So the first step, which is for you to get entrance, it's not the certification, unfortunately. I know a lot of people say, you know what, I have my certification, and I need a resume, I'm looking for a job. The first step is not a certification. The first step is what we call the mindset and the career shift. The mindset and the career shift. Why is it a mindset and a career shift? The biggest challenge we're having, or the biggest challenge many of us are having in breaking through the market, is that they thought getting into Scrum was more like doing the training, getting a good resume, or even learning how to answer all the questions. Yes, this is very good. But beyond you getting the certification, getting a good resume, and learning how to answer the question, it's also your mind. Your mind has a very powerful place to play. The way you think determine the what you attract. So many people have not taken that initiative to prepare their mind what is coming up. So because they are not mentally ready, we find ourselves easily being challenged. We get tired, we get frustrated because we were not mentally ready for what is coming up. So the first step, and most of this step, a lot of people need to reset. We need to reset. Why do we need to reset? Because if you're walking in the wrong path and you're not getting result, there is a need for you to kind of go back so that you take the right direction. There is no need having speed in the wrong direction. So the first step for everybody is the mindset. You need to understand that when we talk about Scrum or Agile, we're talking about leadership. We're talking about you helping a group of experts deliver work. And you're not helping, it's not people you need to teach. And it's also the mindset which you need to take into the interview. Sometimes uh, people respond to interview questions as if they want to teach. They want to teach the interviewer. The interviewers most often are already expert. They just want to evaluate to see if you understand, which means the manner of answering is also going to be a bit different. So I'm going to talk about that. So when you get up your mind, which means that you need to do your research, you need to know what is going to take you time wise, financial wise, and also what is going to take you mentally wise. So we need time preparedness, we need financial preparedness, we need mental preparedness. Three things you need. All right. Sometimes just imagine you are traveling somewhere and you don't know what it's going to cost you to travel from point A to point B. Let's say the fare was about $300 and now you have $250. It's not going to take you to your destination. And if you don't get to your destination, you're no longer there. The biggest limitation, one of the biggest limitation we're having is a financial not prepared. Something like, oh, you know what? I can only afford this. That's fine. That's what you can afford. But what you can afford, is it enough for it to take you to your destination? Very important. And which is also the baseline that evaluate, you need to do your evaluation and decide which of the community you want to join or who you want to help you along the line. Now, when you're mentally prepared, when you're financially prepared, when you understand the time duration, now you can now go for the certification. Why is time, financial preparedness, and mental preparedness very ready? Because many people get into the certification, then they realize they don't have enough time to prepare. Or they realize, oh, I can only be available after my work schedule. And if you can only be available after your work schedule and no other time, it's also difficult for you to stay consistent, except you're a very highly disciplined person. Now, one of the things you can do that are going to help you achieve results faster is to be where you have the same people going the same direction with you. When you in the same community with people that are moving that same direction, you're motivated. Now, this is missing in most of the cases. A lot of people are in their journey in isolation. They watch YouTube video, they come online, they watch like I'm presenting now, but now they lack that power to finish. The power to finish is definitely being in a community where you have other people doing the same thing like you. They can motivate you, you can learn from them. It's a daily encouragement. And we have seen this over and over work for so many people who have been in our community. All right. So I spoke about the mentorship, financial shift. The second one, you go for the certification. When you go for the certification, which is the second part of the work you need to do, the third part is not the resume. After the certification, you need to take some time and practice. Why are you practicing? You're practicing on how to facilitate event. You're practicing on how to set up your own Scrum board. It can be Jira. Jira is the most commonly that you can easily practice. It can be as we develop. But now the reason you need to practice is because you want to soak yourself into the reality. When you soak yourself into the reality, you understand what it means to create a story, what how a story is linked to an epic or a future, how you break it to subtext, how you roll them over to a sprint, how you can close them. It gives you an extra confidence to go extra mile. Now, that phase is where what gives you the ability to know if you're ready for an interview or not. When you understand some of the practice, it's not gonna it doesn't take you time. If you participate fully, let's say in 2 spring, which is about 30 days, you're good enough to go. Now then you can now prepare your resume, and then you can prepare your LinkedIn profile, and you can start interviewing, preparing for interview. So roughly, to get prepared for someone that has not been in a leadership position, it's averaging about 45 days. Now, 45 days based on the way I help people, right? It can be different out there because for the training and certification, it only take 4 days. Now it's only taking 3 days. I've shifted all my training for those who want to be part of our next safe certification to Friday evening, Saturday evening, and Sunday evening. And we have a training next weekend, which is going to be the 20th of January. So I'll also share some information in there for anyone that want to join. So 3 days for certification. And within the 3 days when you're doing the certification, we go through almost everything on in practice. But is that enough to help you switch to a resume and get a job? I would say no. Except you are super smart, except you've been in a similar environment, except you're super disciplined to go take the whole outline and run on your own. All right, perfect. Now, when you do that phase, you need to now switch into a phase of practice. A phase of practice is what gives you the confidence. For you to know that you are ready for a Scrum job, you need to be able to have the ability to look at all the, first of all, a very quick check to know that you're ready for any interview or not. Can you interpret all your performance chart, bend down, bend up chart, the velocity chart? What does it mean? Do you know how they've been generated in Jira? Right? How do they come about? If you can have that double check, like, you know what? If I see a bend down chart, how do I find it in Jira? What happened before I get out the bend down chart? What happened before I get a velocity chart? What happened before I get a bend up chart? What happened before we get a cumulative flow chart? Now, if you can do that check and have an understanding of what happened, then you see me ready to go. Then the next one is going to be your leadership confidence. And the final part, which is the one you want to pay attention, which is also what is going to launch us into our question and answer for today. So you can start preparing your questions and answer, is the last part. The last part is what you say, the way you say it. Now, when you start putting in your question, I'm going to address that. For instance, in our community of practice today, we asked a question. And what was the question? Uh, you have been asked this question in an interview. What will you do if the Scrum Master and the product owner would not be available for a demo? What will you do if the Scrum Master and the product owner will not be available for a demo? Will you go ahead and cancel the demo? Now, that's the open question, right? Okay, now I know many people will try to say, okay, if they are not coming, then I'm going to do this check, I'm going to do this check, I'm going to ask them this, I'm going to ask them this. That's the first thought that comes to our mind, right, when we're listening to this question. But unfortunately, you are the Scrum Master and you're not going to be there. So you cannot even give an analysis of what you're going to do, right? So it's just like, okay, if assuming I'm the Scrum Master, I need to do early on communication to my team to make sure that everything is set for the demo, given that the product owner and the Scrum Master will not be there. Now, the reason they're asking this question, number one, they want to know if you understand what should be done in a demo or a review. Secondly, they want to know if you understand that a Scrum team need to be a self-organizing team, which means that if the Scrum Master or the product owner is not there, we are not supposed to cancel any event. If you in a team where your Scrum Master or your product owner is missing and you're canceling event, it means that that team is not yet self-organized, right? It's not self-organized. Self-organized simply means that we can plan together, but then we have the ability to fill some gap when it is necessary. All right. So I hope this was some helpful information for somebody out there. Um, I know you've been applying for jobs, getting feedbacks. It's time for me to look at how I can contribute in that fee. So go ahead, and if you have any question for me today, put it in the chat box and we are going to address those questions right away. I think I have about 30 minutes, depending on how many questions that are going to come in today to be able to address this question. It might not just be questions, but if you have some concern, you have some issue, any stuff you want to ask, please go ahead and put them in now. And hello, Mr. William. Hello, Coach Kari. I see you there. Hello, Ayo. Hello, Rafael. Hello, Vivian from his team. Hello, Mr. P from Chicago, Joy from the UK, everyone. It's time for us to kind of do some brainstorming. It's our lunch and then, right? So you can go ahead and ask me a question. Meanwhile, while you're putting your own question, I'm going to also give you some of my top questions that you should be looking for if you are heading out for an interview these days. Now, one of the questions which you should be looking out is, what is your coaching style? Can you tell me what your coaching style it's all about? Give me your coaching style. That's a question that's coming up over and over and over and over and over again, right? And it's a very big question. But then what you want to double check, is go go check out the grow technique. Grow like growing tall, right? GROW. It's one of the most vampire use technique there, where the G stands for goal, right? So a coaching technique, it's like, okay, the G stands for, before I get to any coaching session, I have to make sure I set my goal, right? R stands for reality, and make sure that I meet the person I want to help at the point. Why is it very important? And this is also, it's very important because some of the time I can tell you, you know what, I'm not I'm finding it difficult, or I can tell you, okay, you know what, I'm not getting a Scrum job because I think it's my resume. Now, from a coaching standpoint, I can easily dismiss the fact that, oh, no, it's not your resume because I can see beyond you. But if I dismiss that fact, the high probability that I'm not going to help you. Why? Because you already know a problem you have, then I'm dismissing that problem. So the first thing, I need to accept your own problem. Oh, yeah. Do you think it's your resume? Can you send it over to me and I see it? And I see the resume, I say, oh yeah, I see the resume have some gaps, some gaps. Then I take it from there, and I'm able to meet you from your point and ask for that question. So very important point. That's a good thing. A second is realistic. Now, and then we can go ahead and set some other goals. Now, when we do now the reality, we can do options. What are the options for us to help you? And then the W stand for we do. What are we going to do next? So that's the technique. And another technique I shared with my team today was uh, the love coaching technique, LOVE, where L stand for open your ears and listen, O stand for open your heart and listen, V stand for voice your concern, and E stand for empower transformation. As a coach, your goal is to empower transformation, not to tell people what to do, but to direct them how to get the right information. So that's one of the top questions. Of course, tell me about yourself. You can never miss that. But if you watch one of the video I put on YouTube, I said, you need to learn how to start customizing your tell me about yourself in less than 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes. I read somewhere it's even advisable. It's an elevator pitch, and they're expecting you to be somewhere between 30 seconds and 60 seconds. So, which means that you need to know how to summarize as much as you can. Okay, so let's look at some of the questions that are coming up already. The first question is from Mary. Uh, Please, can you throw more light on what is a Scrum Master? Oh, what is a Scrum Master? Very important question. And sometimes we always ignore what is a Scrum Master or who is a Scrum Master. All right. So, a Scrum Master, right? The reason he is called a Scrum Master, he is the person in charge of a framework called Scrum framework. The Scrum framework help a team principally of people doing work to deliver work incrementally. When we talk about incrementally, means that we plan work within shorter cycle, like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and we can deliver part by part. Let's say, for instance, you order the latest limousine car, and you want it to be delivered maybe January 2024, right? Now, if they start building it today, the team will make sure that every part they build, they show it to you and you confirm. That requires that they need to be a really effective planning and communication and collaboration between you, the customer, between the team that is building. Remember, when you're building a car, it's not just one team. There are going to be so many people engaged in the team, and also the company, which are the manager. So all of these collaborations are facilitated by a person called a Scrum Master. But Scrum is widely applicable in the software industry now, but we can also have Scrum in the operation company where it's just about organizing work. So it's an approach to deliver work incrementally to a customer. It's customer centric. That's what it's called. We call it customer centric, and it's flexible, right? All right. what is the relationship between KPIs and OKR? Very important. Now, when you talk about KPIs, we're talking about key performance indicator. When we talk about OKRs, we're talking about objective key result. Key performance indicators simply means that what are we going to see? What are we going to see to show to know that we are doing well? That's a key performance indicator. We can have key performance indicator like a bend down chart, velocity chart, our sprint report, communication and collaboration output. Those are key performance indicator. Now, when we look at objective key result, objective key result might go beyond just chat, right? Result could be like, okay, we are going to complete this increment. We are going to complete this increment by this period of time. We are going to deliver this. So these are result. What are result? So result, we go beyond just having performance. Within OKRs, we can have KPIs to monitor the OKRs. So objective key result, it's kind of bigger, but then key performance indicator are more like what are we going to see to evaluate the result. I hope I did some justice in that question and answer it. um okay, if you're new and looking forward to that, and I guess you definitely are following on from YouTube, what you want to do is that I'll drop or visit our website, and you should be able to see a kind of a detailed video on how to go through. I'm just gonna let it scroll on the screen, so you can double check that and see if you can have information there to help you. Otherwise, also you can see my number going on the screen. Simply just send me a text message. Please don't call. Just send a text and I'll respond to you. Sometimes if you call, you might not get a response. Just send me a text message and say, "Oh, I need more information on this," and I'm going to send it to you. Also, if you look on the description of this video, I think we have the link there that gives you an idea of the whole program and what it takes. Okay, let me make sure I'm not missing any question. The next question say, what about canceling a refinement session in the absence of the PO? Okay. Now, the case where you can cancel a refinement session in the case of the absence of the PO, it's when the PO doesn't take time to put items in the product backlog on time or to prioritize them. Now, and that is why we always ensure like have your backlog two spring deep, right? If you have your backlog two spring deep, even if the PO is not available, you can meet with your team. We already have the items in the backlog and your team can prioritize them, right? So you cannot cancel a backlog refinement because of a PO. The case where you can cancel is when the PO is collecting data instantly, which means that if the PO is not there, then we don't know what to do. But if the PO should be able to continuously refine the backlog in such a way that if it's not there, he's not holding back the spring planning, he's not holding back the backlog refinement, which is why as a scrum master you need to understand how to facilitate backlog refinement, or how to backlog refinement and spring planning, by knowing how to facilitate estimation and how to facilitate prioritization. So very important. Does having safe first knowledge gives you an aspiring scrum master an edge? If the company you're working on requires safe first, then you have safe first knowledge, good. But not all product teams are going to use safe first. Safe first is mainly in e-commerce, right? So you have people that are put up a scrum master position, they're specifically looking for safe first. They also have positions looking for people with head background. So they also have position looking for people with previous banking experience. So it really is relative based on what you're looking for. Can you help someone is already who already have the knowledge? Jira, Azu, Mora, Miro, other tools. I just need someone who is good with Scrum to help with resume. Can you help that? Okay, so let me give you a technique. Now, if I want to help you with your resume, for those who need the resume help, It's what I do is I book an hour session with you and we'll go through that, right? And an hour session with me is $200. Okay, but the best way for you to double check your resume, I have a course on my site, reeducation.io, which has a sample resume and gives you exactly what you should put in your resume. I definitely don't so much believe on doing your resume for you without you being there, right? Because we need to go through why do we have this here? Why are we writing this? And how you can effectively defend that. A resume is not just something that you take and then figure out. It's something which you need to understand. You need to motivate. You need to be able to talk about that. So that if you just want, if you know, oh, I figure out everything is just the resume. I think that cost is less than $50. You can just go on the website, get it, and then check also the link on the description. You'll be able to see that there. All right, George. All right, say that good day, Dr. Francis. Please, what could be the reason why some people aren't getting interview invitation even though they have a good resume? Okay, you need to determine what you call a good resume. If you're not getting interview indication, yes, it's not solely a resume problem. There might be a couple of other problems. Now, a simple problem on your resume can be as, which I've seen this over and over again, you have your PSM and you write there PSM 2021, right? 2021. And then your resume is showing that you have 5 years of experience. Now, just it can be as simple as a date. So sometimes you might feel like, oh, it's good. And meanwhile, no, I've also seen situation where your resume is just because when you kind of do the job description, you even contradict yourself with the sentences. Now, if uh, you have a coach that has been able to evaluate your resume and tell you that is good, there's no challenge there, then you might start checking if you have maybe duplicated resume, you have uh check about your LinkedIn profile or so. But to the best of my understanding, I've had a lot of people say, you know what, I have a good resume. I don't know why I'm not having an interview. And trust me, 99% of the cases I've been able to show you that okay, uh, you don't have a good resume. If your resume is good, you will go through, you have interview invitation. Yeah. So the techniques, which is just beyond putting positions there, which you need to understand how to get this through. All right. How do you motivate your team? And do you know your team is, and how do you know your team is highly performant? Your team is highly performant. Two indicators. Number one, communication is effective. Number two, collaboration is effective. That's a performing team. Now, when you look at the Talkman approach of team performance, what happened? There are five different stages. When you form a team, what happened? There is storming, there is fighting. People don't want to talk, right? People are just to themselves because they don't yet understand each other. Now, when they understand each other, now they're normalizing. Now, I always say, I use this example. Picture yourself in a relationship. You met someone at a train station the first day. You like that person, right? Hello, hello. It's skeptical, right? And most often the conversation might not really go good. When you get to start knowing that person better and start normalizing with that person, what happened? You can easily flow with that person. That's the same team performance. And that is why the key two important ingredients in helping your team become performances facilitate communication. If they can communicate at ease and they can collaborate, then they can solve any problem. So you motivate your team by facilitating collaboration and communication. How do you facilitate collaboration and communication? Number one, first, it start with you having one-on-one. Be real. A lot of the time, we're not real to our team as Scrum Masters. We appear as a Scrum Master. Sometimes we need to go down to these people and like, you know what? Forget about the Scrum Master cap. I need your help. How can you help me do this? Right. So we need to really be real with people. The way we interact with them, very, very important. So those are two ways you can help your team become performer. Alan say, how do you assist your team manage a production rollback after a release? Okay, very important. Now, a production rollback, it's more like what we can, the two production rollback can be either a bug or either a technical debt. All right, which means that we have already sent out the product to our client, then it's sent back to you. Now, that's an emergency because it's supposed we're already running behind schedule. So, what you can do is reprioritize your work and uh, um, make sure that what is rollback is on the top priority. This is what you give them what we call high priority. You label them as high priority. But then it's not just about assisting your team, it's also finding out what actually happened that we had this production rollback. Very important. What happened? Apart from say, okay, now I'm gonna first of all share my team. They did a good job, no blames. But then help them while we're reprioritizing the bug that as on the rollback. We also evaluating to see what went wrong so that we can document that on lesson learned, and that can help us to move not to repeat that mistake again in the future. All right. So the next question: how do I apply Scrum to my current job if my current job is not Scrum? My current job is in the area of logistics. How do I apply uh, the 353 Scrum to my logistic job? It depends the position in which you're in logistic. If you're in logistic and you're in a place where you're leading a team, then you can start by just having like daily calls, right? Or maybe regular meetings to review your progress. So, but if you're not in a position where you're managing a team, it's difficult for you to start implementing Scrum. Scrum is team based. But then if you work with a team, you can have like regular checkup, maybe every morning. Those are daily stand up. You could have like end of the week to evaluate how your team did, what are some of the mistake, what caused the mistake, and how you can progress from that. How can a transitioning Scrum Master with little experience get their first role? Okay, very important. You get your first role by becoming the expert. How do you become the expert? Now, one of the advantage the 21st century market has given us is the ability to position yourself as an expert without necessarily in code going through all the years that you need in reality. How do you do that? The first thing is you need to be able to practice and simulate. Like someone just say, I'm in a logistic fee. Right. If you were to apply Scrum in a logistic fee, how will you situate that? You can simulate different Scrum events and role play them and be very good at them in less than 60 days. And you can look at how to role play that back in your previous positions. So if you can effectively do that, this is a reality. A lot of people think that people who are interviewing, all of them are human. They're not like some people out there that are super perfect. No, they're not looking for that candidate which is clean and prompt. No, they're looking for someone who understand what they need and they demonstrate the ability that they can deliver the result. So the same, I can work in a healthcare fee for the past 5 years, and let's say I've been in a place where I work with a team and I play leadership skill with a team. It's easier for me to talk Scrum compared to someone who maybe has been a Scrum Master for 1 year and is not paying any attention on leadership skills or so. So there is adaptation, reorganizing yourself, and then pushing back. But my key goal is practice, practice, practice. That is the strength of my team. It's not we have certifications that are coming over on the weekend, right? After 3 days, we teach you everything that you need to know. Good. But your ability to stay consistent and to continuously practice is what gives you the job and what helps you stay in the job. I've had people who reach out to me and say, you know what, I've been in the job for 90 days, but I feel like I don't know anything. I'm like, okay, who's your coach? It's like, no, I just figure things on my own when it comes up. No. Now, Scrum is practice. Scrum is not something you read and then you start going to the book and searching and implementing. No, it's about the practice. It's a continuously changing environment, which means that you need to all continuously learn from what is happening to other people in the field and how you can reapply that in your own field. So you need, even if you're a Scrum Master, if you want to grow, you need to be in a community. Now, this is super important. Today we had our community of practice that involve those who are already working, right? And now those who are already working have the opportunity to meet with those who are still looking for the job. And when we do breakout room and they just share their experience, that, oh, now this makes sense to me. And those who are also working, we have another session where we just come and talk about what has been the challenges in the week. And I remember someone today sharing about, oh, I just joined a team. I don't have a PO. There is no product backlog. They want me to come out with a product backlog. How do I go about that? Now, in theory, you don't study how to generate a product backlog as a Scrum Master. But because we have other people in the community who have been through that process, in less than 5 minutes, you get a way up to go. And that's it. So it's about practicing and affirming yourself, right? Um, okay. All right, thank you. So you actually understood that. When can you quit an agile transformation? Okay. Uh, okay, Dennis, if I understand you, is your question going to be like, when can you kind of figure out that this is not working? Is that what you mean? Or what do you mean by when can you quit an agile transformation? Please, if you can rephrase that question, I should be able to answer them. Can someone with admin background in the health sector be a scrum master? Definitely yes. Yes, if you do the right thing. The right thing is practice and go through the process. You can become a scrum master. So if that's something you want to learn, I also say if you go through um, if you go through the description, you'll be able to see a link that gives you a full detail of what it takes to be a Scrum Master. You can also reach out to me with a number on the screen below, and I will be able to give you that information. It's very possible. All right, Divina. Okay. Please, can you throw more light on the difference between Scrum versus Kanban and when to use either framework? Okay. Scrum, incremental delivery. Right. And Scrum, because we are delivering incrementally, we are paying attention on the learning. We're paying attention on the learning. The learning is very important. That's Scrum. Now, that's why we do the retrospective and review and all of that. We build it. Kanban is not so much. If we're looking at a pure Kanban team, not a Scrum ban, most of the teams we have that we call Kanban in a Scrum environment are not pure Kanban team. We mix both Scrum and Kanban because we having daily stand up, maybe we having planning, but we have better Kanban bot. So this Kanban bot is different from a Scrum bot. A Kanban team is different from a Scrum team. A pure Kanban team, they are only interested in monitoring their work in progress. So they have a whole backlog with items that they need to complete, and they just prioritize and complete as needed. And they just make sure that they don't have too many items working on at the same time. So there's just that continuous flow. We'll call it a pool base. They have a backlog and a pool. Now, Scrum, you need to plan. You plan what you're going to do within 2 weeks. You measure, you implement what you've planned. You measure your success, you take the lessons and you redo it again. So those is the major difference. Okay, how to find a first experience in Scrum since most of the job require. Join a community of practice. You join a community of practice, you'll be able to, not all right, in my community of practice, let me be personalized. In my community of practice, this is what happened. When you join our team, we do assessment if you're already certified, right? If not, you go through our certification process. When you join our team, we now put you in a project group where you are facilitating a race scrum project. Now you get to learn what it takes to be a scrum master, and you also get to facilitate. You get to also play the role of a product owner, developer, so you understand fully in detail what need to be done. Now, when that is done, we move you through the next phase, which is about evaluation. We sit down, evaluate, understand your knowledge on Scrum. When we understand your knowledge on Scrum and you can fully defend that, then we should be able to help you fix how to get into the job market. But then it's very, very important that you understand the practice. Scrum is not about resume and putting years on resume. It's about practice. If you practice and you can defend it, even if you have 10 years in your resume, trust me, you're going to go through. All right. Is it true that if one master the Scrum Guide, one can pass the certification exam? Yes, very true. But then on the other side, this is where a lot of people making mistake. They master the Scrum Guide, they pass the exam, and then they get a CV and they get into the market. You can pass the Scrum Guide. The Scrum Guide is not Scrum in practice. Scrum in practice is very, very different. Right. I just gave you a scenario here. You get into a team, there is no product owner, and then you are asked to facilitate to come up with a roadmap and come up with a product backlogs. The Scrum Guide doesn't teach you that. You get in a team and you don't even have, you have just, let's say, um, two team members, the product owner, yourself, and two developers. And now you need to work with maybe external vendors in bringing stuff in there. Those are not things you learn in the Scrum Guide. So the practice is definitely different from the theory. Very important. All right. How can you level up with difficult PO, opposing the process optimization technique and constantly pushing work? All right, very important. Make the PO your friend. Take a PO out for lunch, right? Just be friend with the PO. Try as much as possible not to contest with them, not to tell them what they're doing wrong. Get to be their friend. Get more closer. If we're friends, then we can disagree in a good way, right? Sometimes I'll say that the Scrum Masters also pushes the PO to be an opposing PO, because the Scrum Master is trying to say, you know what? I know the Scrum framework. I'm the Scrum police. Oh, this is an anti-pattern. This is an anti-pattern. We don't solve things with anti-pattern. Someone asked me that. Oh, I have someone from the administration which is not supposed to be part of my team, and they want to come to my retrospective. This anti-pattern, I'm not going to let them. I said, no, it's anti-pattern, yes, but remember, Scrum, it's about leadership. It's about evaluating. I asked the person, this person is from leadership, right? And I'm sure this person is the one authorizing your paycheck. You're giving them hard time. Are you also thinking about beyond the team? So, although our goal is to advise leadership what might go wrong, if they don't listen and they continually push through, that's fine. They already know the consequence. We're not to convince, we're not to use authority, we're to persuade, we're to coach, we're to show people. And that is why we spoke about one of the way to help people understand when it comes to difficult situation is using the love technique. The love technique, LOVE, you listen to them, you open your heart, and then you voice your concern. And then, based on what you gather, you empower transformation. When you listen carefully, which is active listening, you realize that every problem that is posed to you or that's presented to you already have a solution in there. And then, when you give the solution back in the word of the person who is asking the question, then it's possible to go through. All right. I'm taking the SAFE course on Udemy. Can I still take a SAFE certification exam after completing my course? No, don't go take SAFE certification course in Udemy. For you to be certified as a SAFE Scrum Master, you need to go through a certified consultant. If not, you cannot have access to your license. So taking the sales course on Udemy doesn't give you access to the sales certification. With PSM, you can take your course anywhere. You just need to go on their site and pay $150 and you take your exam, right? But then for you to have CSM and SAFE, you need to pass through a trainer, and the trainer need to train you, validate that you actually completed the course before they can issue you a license and you go take your exam. Could Salesforce Administrator certification help me stand out looking for a Scrum job? If you're looking for a Scrum job in a e-commerce or in a Salesforce company, yes, that's gonna help you stand out. I have been getting interviews but not able to land a role. What could be the problem? You need to practice. There's something you're saying wrongly, or there's something you're doing wrongly. So if you're not able to land a role, you're not able to defend effectively what is in your resume. That's one part. Now the other part is cannot just be your resume, cannot even be the fact that you're not responding well. If you double check and you make sure you're doing your own part, you're responding well, it might just be that, okay, there are other more competitive candidates than you. So keep practicing and keep getting better in yourself, and you will definitely get that. Right. So very important. How do you deal with imposter syndrome in a new or challenging role? Very important. Leadership. Those that are in my community will enjoy Sunday leadership. Imposter syndrome is about personal development. Uh, get to listen more to motivation, get books, read them. They're going to empower you. For my top recommendations are books. Get books that speak on confidence, listening to stuff on how to build confidence. Now, imposter syndrome also come about as a result of you not being confident with what you have learned. So sometimes when you continue, especially when you get a Scrum Master position, continuously build on yourself, continuously read more books, buy more books on Scrum. That's the time you have the money. Pay and attend community. Pay a personal coach. It's very important. I had someone, after about 6 months of being in a job, they gave them an evaluation and they did not really do well. And they gave them 60 days to improve or they lose the job. And that was the time they were looking for a coach. The reason you're being paid a six figure, look, if you want to stay up higher, don't go alone. Go with a coach. Never assume you know a lot. I do have a coach. I don't just sit and imagine. No, I have a coach. And they also have a coach, I have a mentor. And they follow their instruction. If you really definitely want to go higher, the most important investment you can invest is on yourself. Pay, not okay. Sometimes we look at, oh, I need to do B, I need to do C, I need to do, but forget the foundation. The more you invest on yourself, the more you stand the chance to go higher and faster. Trust me. All right. Uh, what role does the Scrum Master play during deployment? Okay. During deployment, it's going to depend on in your company, but definitely the Scrum Master will not play any role in deployment. Now, what is deployment in the first place? Let's understand what deployment is all about. Okay, when we talk about deployment, it means that we are moving it to an environment. When developers are building, let's say we are building a payment gateway or we're building um, advertisement and coupon for Walmart, we don't go, although it's going to be used on the Walmart website or on the Amazon website, we don't build them in Amazon website, right? We build them, first of all, every developer have their own personal space, which they work on stuff. When they work on their personal space, they move it now to where we call the production environment. They deploy it. So think about when we talk about military going to war, what happened? They deploy them. They move them from one environment to another environment for a specific purpose. So when we talk about deploying, it means what we have done is ready to be moved to this environment. We can also deploy, you can deploy to production, which means we move it to the production environment. The production environment is similar to the environment of the end user. We can deploy to UTA, which is an environment where we can test to see if it's going to be acceptable by the user, right? So it's very important. What is the role of the Scrum Master? Just to ensure that deployment is effectively done, right? Just to make sure that what is done is already deployed. And most often, the Scrum Master will not even have access to the deployment environment. The product owner will have that, but you just need to double check to make sure that that was done. Okay, so the last 10 minutes, let's see how many questions we can go. How can I be a coach and run Scrum classes as a Scrum Master? How can I be a coach and run Scrum classes as a Scrum Master? You need a coach to coach you how to be a coach and run classes as Scrum Master. Okay, you can do that. Now, if you want, two things you can do. In Scale Agile, which is the space where I'm in, if you take the SPCT, no, XPC, Safe Program Consultant, it gives you access to start running classes. But very important, even if you want to take that class, I would still recommend you look for a coach, because it's not just about you having the certification and teaching. It's how you push out information to those who are receiving it. Very important. You can also go through the Scrum Alliance. They have their own process as well for you to become a certified trainer in their midst. Okay, let's see. All right. Yes, Levina, that's one of our top coaches. And it's a place to be. Yes, you get a lot of momentum, you get a lot of encouragement, definitely. Do I need to put the years I obtained my PSM certificate on my resume? No. If you put it, you kick out. Sorry, I didn't say that. Yeah, why? You definitely uh okay, it's a bit more in depth. Maybe we can I can give you more information on that. Um if I need to put the year experience, meaning I got my certification to October 2022, I need to put 2 to 3 years of experience. I don't know that. Okay, that's gonna be your personal decision. But then, um, Joe, this is my advice. Talk to a coach, and they should be able to help you figure out. It's a bit complicated than just explaining. How do you integrate a long existing team? What do you mean integrate a long existing team? Is it like they've been existing as a Scrum team, then you don't need to integrate them? Is it like Sonia, if you can rephrase that question, then I should be able to help you uh, answer it. Where do I find a Scrum coach? Right here. Send me a text. Right. I do coaching as well, right? For people that need personal coaching and need how to land a job. Okay, let me talk about this. A lot of people reach out to me and say, "Oh, Dr. Francis, I just need someone which I can call when I have a challenge. I can text. That's the kind of coaching I need." That kind of coaching will never help you. Just being realistic and very sincere with you, right? Coaching that help you is not about me telling you what to do. Okay, we spend about 45 minutes here, and I've answered almost every question that you've asked. Good and fine, but that doesn't help you be excellent. Now, what helps you become excellent is when I'm able to sit down with you and guide you what to do. You go do it and have feedback. I follow up. I see what you did, what is the gap that you're missing, how to close that gap. That is the coaching that helps you. Very important. And also, The power in our community, well, community is the fact that we situate you in teams. Most of my teams, they do their daily stand up every morning. We have different teams. They do daily stand up. They're sharing information. People are sharing what they're having on interviews, the kind of questions they're having. There's a lot of learning. It's an environment. It's a process. It's not a one-person thing. So sometimes if your coach is just like you and your coach, oh coach, I have a problem, and then you don't do anything beyond you and your coach by interacting in a community where you also give out. So effective learning is not just taking, it's also you giving, it's also you being in the process. It's a whole lot of process. A Scrum Master is not the same as Agile Project Manager. They might have similar stuff. When you see Agile Project Manager, they still more in the waterfall way of doing things, the traditional way, just that they want to be flexible. That's why we put Agile Project Manager. So it's different from a Scrum Master. All right, so I think we run out of our time box, so an hour, and it's been great, great, great actually talking to you. I'm gonna see you next Saturday in our live, the same time. We're gonna have a live session again every Saturday. Every Saturday, I want to make sure that I keep this consistent as well. And if you follow us on YouTube, on Mondays, we have a video on Monday, and we also have a video on Thursday. But next week, should I make this promise? Maybe. Okay. So next week, I'm gonna be rolling out training on Jira, how to create your own Jira board, how to put story in there, how to launch a sprint. So the videos I'm gonna put it on my YouTube next week is going to be in that line. All right. Elizabeth says, can you throw more light on the love approach you mentioned earlier? That's gonna cost you $100, Elizabeth. How much does it cost to be in your community of practice? How much does it cost to be in my community of practice? Right now, the prices are always changing. Right now, it's 1,500 to be in my community of practice. You can check our website. All of the details is there. Your benefit and everything that you need to do is there. How much does it cost to be in your community of practice? Okay, please. How do I sign up for your team? Um, Check the description. You're going to see, or simply just send me a text. Let me see if I have my number somewhere. Simply just send me a text. I'm going to send you information that you need, right? And then when you go through that information, if you have a question, you can reach out to me. So simply send me a text. I just put my number out there. uh Send me a text. Okay. All right. All right. Let me be fair enough and answer Elizabeth's question before leaving. Elizabeth says that can you throw more light on the love approach? Okay, I said L was listening, active listening. Now, for you to actively listen, you need to ask questions. You need to listen. For me to understand that you're actively listening, is from the way you ask questions. So listen, coaching approach. Remember, when we talk about coaching, is because there is a problem you need to solve. So when you realize that I need to coach, okay, let's take a scenario here. You have a developer, he's constantly not showing up in daily stand up. That developer is not meeting up with their work, and you need to coach them on the impact of what they're doing to the team. Now we already have the problem and you have your goal. So when you meet them, the first thing will not be, oh, James, you're not showing up on daily stand up, this is affecting the team, and like, no. So you need to prepare a list of questions which you know ask them, hey James, how are you doing? And I noticed you were in a daily stand up yesterday. We want to share with me what happened. Then you ask question, you listen to them and ask questions. Many people just need people to listen to them, and the problem is solved. Now, the O is open your heart. You are not listening because you want to respond to them. You are listening to understand them. You are listening. You need to be empathetic. When you understand them, the tune and the way in which you talk back to them, it's a whole lot. It means a whole lot to them. Now, after you've listened and opened your heart to them, you can now voice your concern. Voicing your concern will be like, okay, James, I do understand you're going through all of these. I do feel your pain. And maybe if I was in your shoe, I might even do worse. Now, you're already assuring them that you understand exactly what is going on. But then when you voice your concern about them after acknowledging what they've done, you can now empower transformation, which is E. Now, empower transformation will be like, have you thought about what will happen if we are not able to deliver this increment by the end of the sprint? I just had a meeting with a manager, and this increment is what, about $1 million. And if we miss out this is going to cost the company. So imagine if we lost this project and everyone in this team is laid off. Now, you are empowering a transformation by making them realize, look, okay, this is one powerful stuff. This is one technique about coaching, right? I'm giving you $1 million idea here for people that understand coaching. Coaching is, for you to be an effective coach, you need to have the ability to figure out the pain point of the person you want to help. I used to do book coaching, and it's a lady. I completed a book with her, and what made her sign up and invested $5,000 to write and publish her book was simply the fact, when I was listening to her, she made mention like, you know what, Francis, I promise my daughter that by the time I turn 50, I want to be a millionaire. And it's fast approaching, and I don't have anything to show. So when I was empowering transformation, I simply say, hey, do you really want to make your daughter proud and make sure you can showcase this? Then this is how this is going to help you to do this. Now, their pain point was not that they needed to write a book. Their pain point was, I need something to keep to my promise. So people don't just do things because they want to do them. People do things because it's empowered by something. So when we talk about listening and opening your heart, is to figure out what is their pain point. When you understand their pain point, you now draw empathy to that point. You use that same point to help them take decision. People only take decision, but you can hear people say, you know what, I'm just doing this just because of you, right? Because you are their pain point. So there are reason why people act. When you talk to people, you listen why they are taking that action. That is the point for you to look at how you can help them. It simply means you care about them, right? So thank you. So we answered all of those questions. Some other questions came in, but I think we already closed. Okay, no other question again. Let me answer these other two questions. All right. Can you share the price? Join your community. I plan to take a safe certification. All right. For the safe certification, is coming up on Friday. You can join it there. Let me see if Scrum. Okay. I think I've shared the link for those who are watching on YouTube and stuff. I'm also going to share the link for those who are watching those who are watching from LinkedIn. I'm also going to share the link to you right now. So on the page, you will see if you want to sign up for the Scrum classes, you are going to see the schedule for certification. Also, for all of the links you click, there's a video on top that explains exactly what you need. So I've shared the links. You can use that to check what you want. All right, perfect. And for anybody who wants to sign up today, you can send me a text and I will give you a discount code. I'm not disclosing the discount for people that want to sign up today. Okay, everyone, do have a great weekend. Enjoy your weekend. All right. And for any other question, I'm going to answer it offline. Alan, differentiate the difference between coaching, teaching, and mentoring. All right. If I'm a coach, it is my duty. If I'm a coach, it is my duty to make sure that you succeed. So I'm responsible for your success. So coaching is about empowering transformation. Now, if I'm a mentor, you come to me when you have challenge and I can help you. I can guide you, right? But I'm not responsible in setting goals for you. Coaches set goals and make sure you meet those goals. Mentors just make sure that you're fine. You bring your goals to them, they guide you on how to do that. As a mentor, I'm not compared to come and set goals for you, right? I only there as a figure to help you solve the problem that you bring to me. As a coach, I want to make sure you're setting the right goal. I want to make sure you're completing it. As a teacher, as a guide, I'm teaching you what you need to know, right? I'm teaching you what is within, what can help you. So probably I might not be setting goals for you. So the main difference, coaching, you actually set goals for the person you're coaching. You ensure that they meet that goal. Mentoring, you're definitely not responsible in setting goals for them. They set their goals and you walk them on how they can achieve those goals. Right. When we talk about teaching, teaching is about demonstrating. You can teach somebody a concept. If you're teaching somebody a concept, you can come to my if you come to my Scrum class, right, for the safe certification, now there I teach you. I'm not, I teach you. I might not mentor you, but I teach you on how to get your certification. I'm demonstrating based on a guide. Okay. Now, I might coach you to pass your certification. I coach you on what you need to do, but then I'm not your mentor. Now, if you come to my community of practice, with the school of practice, number one, I can coach you and mentor you. Now, when you bring your problem to me, I solve them. I'm mentoring you. When I set goals for you and guide you through what you need in order to complete those goals, I'm coaching you. When you bring out some concept which you don't understand, I take out time to explain them to you. I'm teaching you. All right. Yes, if you did not train under me, you can join my community of practice. You don't have to train under me to be the community of practice. Yep. So for the community of practice, just to throw a little light there, what we do there is we evaluate you, put you in a project group, you gain experience by practicing. We help you make sure that your resume is right. We make sure that we're building your case study. We make sure that you know the right things to say. You go through all the pre-mark preparation, and then eventually taking you through the job and helping you going through the job process. All right, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you on the other side. Keep your question coming. You can send me a direct message if you could not post your question in here, or you can also send me a text message, and I will be able to answer your question. Do have a great weekend and ensure that you're preparing for your week.